this is Steve Stine from GuitarZoom. I want to thank you for all the questions and comments and just general discussions about melody, about phrasing, about plotting points, all of those things that we did in the first video. What I would like to do today is I would like to help you in kind of reaching the next level by making this a little more human, a little more realistic sounding. So what I want to discuss today is what I call boxes, okay? We have different sized boxes in our mind virtually. And so what I'm doing is I'm thinking about the fact that if I used a small box, which is a concept in my head, I want to use a larger box. Or if I used a square box, I want to use a rectangle box. And basically what I'm saying to you is instead of always playing in the same spots with your phrases being the same length, okay, what you want to do is you want to start making a variety of different sized boxes when you play. So to recap the melody that we had before, I was playing this. Now those four notes were correlating with the G, the D, the E minor, and the C chords. And so what we did was we plotted those points, okay? We looked at chords and how we could take the G chord, the D chord, the E minor chord, and the C chord, and we could simply play a note from those shapes. So even if we don't know our theory, even if we don't know all of our scales, we can visualize this G chord right here and play a note. We can visualize this D chord, play a note, E minor, and then C, and play a note from there. Now, a couple of the issues that people were having with that, I'd like to address. One of the biggest things that people had a problem with was, well, how do I know which chord shape I should play, or where should I play a G or a D? And the answer is, you want to find the place on your fretboard that is most comfortable for you to create your melody, right? If you don't know your bar chords, I would obviously recommend learning your bar chords, right? But if you don't know those, let's say you just knew G and D and E minor and C, you could still visualize these 6 notes and emphasize one of those, and then your D, emphasize one of those, E minor, emphasize one of those, and C. So even though, you know, this is about phrasing, obviously, the further you go with your logic and your understanding of your guitar, whether it be your scales, whether or not it's your chords, or fundamental theory, usable theory, wherever it is that you come from, and obviously you're going to keep learning from this point forward, the more of those things that you understand, the more freeing it is on your fretboard when you do these sorts of things. So you don't have to do them where I'm doing them. You could do them anywhere. For instance, and I just want to recap this so if you have any questions, if you only knew your open chords, you could take this G chord and choose any note you want. I'm going to choose this one. And then D chord comes up. I'm going to use that one. E minor comes up. And then C chord comes up. So I've got you see, you could create a very functional melody just by playing in the open chords. And it doesn't matter where you do that. So even if you were doing that down there in any shape or fashion that you want, or whether you're using the chords that I'm using, our goal today is to start changing the size of the movement. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing up here and work here first. So for instance, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I want to change the placement of those a little bit. So I might go 1, 2, ready, go, 1. So I didn't start on beat 1, right? I'm starting my phrase somewhere else. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you'll notice I'm using a little bit of that rephrasing material from the last video. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm changing the sizes of the boxes. So instead of having everything be nice and neat, I'm moving to the notes that I created last time, but I'm moving to them in different places. Okay, so I'm going to take it even a step further now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same idea, but I'm going to start adding in some more bending and things that I would normally do. So 1, 2, ready, go. Now all of a sudden it becomes a little more musical. Okay, I don't have to overdo it. I don't have to start playing everything all the time really fast and all those sorts of things. But using the vocal techniques, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, all those sorts of things, okay, and then adding in the element of resizing our boxes in our head, right? All of a sudden everything begins to sound more authentic. And when I think of the term phrasing, that's what I think of. When I listen to, whoever it might be, if I'm listening to Eric Clapton and I'm listening to him solo over a particular song. I'll even use an example like While My Guitar Gently Weeps by the Beatles, which is one of my favorite solos. It has an authentic feel to it. When you listen to it, it sounds real and it sounds authentic. I don't know that I'm going to grab that song and do any better with it than was already done. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I will not. That's what I want you to learn about your soloing and your phrasing elements, is how to take what you already know how to do, but make it sound more real, make it sound more authentic. Not by learning a bunch of scales and a bunch of different licks. Those are fine, and you want to do that along the way as well. But if we just took the tools that you already know how to do, and we started adding in this realism, changing the box sizes, thinking about the vocal qualities, visualizing plotting points and the movements across the guitar. Obviously, that plotting points thing, we could do that to the nth degree if we could see our whole fretboard. The combination of a scale and these chords that are happening underneath, we could be directing our solo all over the place, making lots of really cool stuff, and then adding in that rephrasing element in between. So it's really, really cool, and it's really easy to do. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to overplay, right? The goal is to create something that really sounds authentic, right? It's inspiring, and that's what you're looking for. So please, I urge you, go ahead and post some comments. Let me know how this second section is going for you. See if you've made a jump from the first section to the second section. See if the change has happened, and let's discuss it a little bit. So I'll see you soon. I've got a third video coming up where we're going to take everything that we've done so far and we're going to blow it up. We're going to make it even more incredible and more realistic sounding.